when you see the replay and you see definitely treads on his foot, there is absolutely no need for VAR to interfere. It's a disgrace that they did. It's an injustice, and I think that we need to use that as fuel for the second leg.
Ben White getting in a skirmish again because he stood on the Atletico Madrid badge, which is on the ground. So Simeone, Simeone Senior and Junior were on the scene.
Any grown man that gets upset about someone treading on a badge that's painted on the floor needs to get a life. Really.
Sort your head out, man. Win the Premier League. There's no debate with Bruno Fernandes. Declan Rice has to win it. I do like Bruno, but come on.
Mikel Arteta coaches the directness and the flair out of a lot of players because he wants control.
We're in the semi-final of the Champions League. We're top of the Premier League. The players are doing all right with him, so
he's got to be doing all right.
I don't think we need to be critical of Arteta at this point.
If you offered them where we are now with no context in the semi-finals of the Champions League and fighting for the Prem, they'd have bit your arm off. So go out there, realise you can get the job done.
If we can navigate this and win quite well, my optimism levels for the title will skyrocket.
Hello, I'm Nick Bright and welcome to Inside Gooners, bringing you all the latest news and reaction from the mighty Arsenal. So we have hit the halfway point in our Champions League semi-final. A positive result yesterday against Atletico Madrid, and here to review it all with me is former Arsenal midfielder Adrian Clarke and broadcaster CJ, aka Deluded Gooner. And I'm delighted to say that this show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org, and please gamble responsibly. Right then, chaps, how are we feeling after yesterday? 1-1 at the Wanda Metropolitano.
I feel good. Yeah, I feel positive about the result. Definitely. And for me, it was like there was 3 acts in the game. You know, the first half, I thought Atletico were a little bit respectful, actually, sort of sat off us. We were able to control the game. And I thought we played pretty well and we created some good chances. Deservedly went in front. The first 20-25 of the second half was a proper examination. You know, they got touch tight. They were aggressive. They brought the Simeone style of play, didn't they? And that was hard to deal with. And we rode our luck. Obviously, we conceded the pen, which we'll get to. And then I thought we finished the game pretty well. So, all in all, it was a good away performance in Europe. And look, we remain unbeaten in the competition. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah. And CJ, the weird thing is, today, you know, we've had a little bit of time to kind of digest it, I guess. I'm seeing 2 schools of thought online from a lot of fans, but the general narrative is like, oh, Arsenal will be a bit disappointed coming away from Madrid with a 1-1 draw. And I'm like, I think it's quite a good result for us.
Yeah, Nick, you're on brand. If you offered me a draw before the game, obviously I would have taken it. Now, obviously we all saw how the game kind of transpired. We could have gone with a lot. We could have left with a lot less. We could have probably won the game. We're going to get into the penalty shouts. I'm a big fan of controlling the controllables. There were some hairy moments where we could have conceded. We probably could have done better in the final third, but we've gone to a nasty away ground against the villains of Simeone's men of Atletico Madrid, and we're still in with a fighting chance of doing it at the Emirates and getting to a Champions League final. So I'm a happy lad, man.
The 2 of you guys, though, do you think we were... Because I'm seeing some people say Arsenal were lucky to get away with a 1-1, you know.
You earn your luck for one, so even if we were lucky, we earned it. How can we be lucky? I know Griezmann obviously hit the crossbar, Alvarez had chances, and so did Lookman, but, you know, if Odegaard shoots, if you know, our decision-making from a bunch of players is better, we probably score a lot more. We more than earned our luck. You know, Raya stood up tall, Magalhaes with that important block, as was Saliba. Rice back in the 6th row, which I'm sure we'll get onto, was a monster. We won our individual battle, so the collective took care of itself. I don't agree with that.
The only team that were lucky were Atletico. They were lucky they didn't concede the second penalty, which we probably would have scored and won that game 2-1. So no, look, we were always going to suffer at some point in that game, and we did. It was really hard. But even in that period, apart from the one that hit the bar, Raya didn't have to make a world-class save, did he? It wasn't the David Raya show. So I felt we were easily worth a draw, and look, we're worthy favourites. I mean, the bookies, they make us heavy odds on favourites to qualify from here, so we've got to get the job done.
And the supercomputer's at it again. The supercomputer thinks we're still favourites to win the whole thing.
I don't know what the supercomputers are.
How do they calculate it?
I reckon the supercomputer's a Gooner.
Yeah, same here.
I hope he is. We need anything we can
The supercomputer's actually Adrian. That's what it is. Right, let's talk about the penalties then. Because we went 1-0 up. Viktor Gyokeres with a trademark Viktor Gyokeres penalty, I think. He just smashes him, doesn't he?
No one should ever take a pen when he he's on the pitch. Like, it has to be Viktor, right?
I love that though. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes we see those kind of like silly run-ups and then they tap it, and Viktor Gyokeres, there's no messing about. Yeah, he just lathers it into the back of the net. I don't even know if he's aiming for a particular part of the goal, but
as long as it goes in, man.
But what did you make, CJ, of the penalty decision? I guess because it was smart play, I think, from Viktor Gyokeres.
I think it was great play from Odegaard and Zubimendi initially in the build-up. As you said, there is street smart play from Gyokeres. It is a foul. He's engineered it and he's convincingly put it home. I think of the three kind of moments or talking points, 2 penalties given and 1 wasn't. Gyokeres wants a stonewall penalty. He's bought it, and there's nothing more to say on that, man.
Yeah. And down the other end, the penalty there, a little bit more controversial, I think. Look, we know the threshold for a handball in Europe is weird, for want of a better phrase. It came off a different part of Ben White's body, shin, I think, then bounced over to his arm. It's going miles wide. Yeah. In the Premier League, there's a world where that's not given, but in Europe, we know they're given.
Yeah, I think Mikel Arteta handled it pretty well afterwards, really. He just said, look, it's never a handball. Like, we don't want to see penalties given for that, but they do give penalties like that in the Champions League. We accept it. Because once they gave the one in the PSG Bayern game, I mean, that was a joke.
Yeah.
This one probably was less of a joke, I suppose. So it was always going to be given. But there's nothing White can do. It ricochets off his shin, hits his hand. He's not even looking. It shouldn't be a penalty. But I'm not going to cry about that, because if it hits your hand in the Champions League, they give it. And they are consistent. Yeah. They're consistently rubbish with those decisions.
Well, at least there's method to the madness with that
exactly.
One.
But it's pen number 3 that we're not happy about, right?
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, let's just go there now. Before I start dropping stats of other things, let's just talk about the Emirates Eze moment, because in real time, I was like, it's a stonewaller, and then I saw the replay and I was like, well, it's definitely a penalty, and then I started to worry, I guess, or initially start to worry when it seemed to take ages for the ref to even go to the monitor. They were talking to the ref for ages, and I was thinking, what are they saying to him? It looks obvious to me.
Yeah, where I'm at with it is, I think it's just about a pen, okay? I think 6 or 7 out of 10, that's a pen, okay? But if it's not given, I'm not up in arms.
Agreed.
I'm not crying about it.
Fair
it's
enough.
Just one of those things, right? But when you see the replay and you see definitely treads on his foot, there is absolutely no need for VAR to interfere. It's a disgrace that they did. And then once he gets there, he's looking with his own eyes. He should not be persuaded by anybody other than what he saw first time, because he got it right.
Agreed.
He trod on his foot. There's no reason to overturn it. And look, I understand Arteta and the players were raging afterwards. I wasn't raging like they were, but it's an injustice, and I think that we need to use that as fuel for the second leg. I think that's really, really important, because they lucked out big time there. And Andy McCoy, I think, on commentary on TV, got it right. He said, if that same situation happens at the other end of the pitch, they're not going to the monitor, and that's what's wrong about it.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying Mikel Arteta said that the ref went over to the monitor and watched it 13 times before he came to a decision. I mean, that's crazy, right? For me, I'm kind of in alignment with you, Clarkey. In real time, it looked like a penalty. The ref's given it on the field. There is no cause to overturn that. It's not clear. It's not obvious. It's not an error, in my opinion. Stick with your decision. But yeah, I think he was swayed by Simeone, the Atletico players, but also the fans.
Yeah, Raj said that as well. I think the fans played a big part. Simeone's antics, which I actually like. I know if that was Mikel Arteta, the context around that would be different. But Simeone's antics, the fans' antics, it makes sense. You said it there. I think every fan has a problem with how this clear and obvious thing makes sense. It doesn't apply. We don't kind of get it. I mean, the ref's giving it, and then they're kind of putting doubts in his mind. A bit like the Benjamin White incident before that. For me, it just doesn't make sense. I do think if that's outside the area, that's a free kick being given. Do I want to see those penalties, the free talking points in the modern day? I think it's gone down the toilet, if I'm brutally honest. But it is a penalty, a soft penalty or not. There is contact, as they should have a penalty, and we're right to be up in arms. But you know what they say about Arsenal fans and refereeing decisions. I just want to speak in control about the controllables. So is what it is.
Speaking of up in arms, did you guys see the clip after the final whistle of Ben White getting in a skirmish again because he stood on the Atletico Madrid badge, which is on the ground. So
on the floor?
Simeone, Simeone Senior and Junior were on the scene. You know, I mean, I thought that was all a bit silly. You know?
Look, if any grown man that gets upset about someone treading on a badge that's painted on the floor needs to get a life. Really,
Sort your head out, man.
Yeah, like seriously, there are bigger things to worry about in life. Look, I think Ben White should have scuffed it up while he was at it.
Facts.
I mean, you know, I feel going into the second leg now, and I think one of you guys touched on it. There's fuel. We have fuel now, and Steve McManaman, who was doing the TV broadcast as well afterwards, he said that's basically, the team talk done for the next leg next week, because
100%.
you know, all the antics of Simeone, the fans whistling all the way through, the conduct of their players, what happened with Ben White afterwards, the fact we should have had a penalty, or we had a penalty snatched away from us, which should have been given. You know, just Arteta needs to go in that dressing room before the game and say, I don't need to speak. Look at these.
Yeah, all he has to do is say, look at this, and just remind the boys, not that they need reminding, you're 90 minutes away from a final. You coped well at Atletico Madrid away. Why can't you do it at the Emirates? I do think us Arsenal fans, owing to the fact that we've kind of been so fixated on the Premier League, we've not quite been as up in arms as we should about being in the latter stages of the Champions League. So Tuesday, everyone just needs to be reminded of that. Let's get to this final, man.
Yeah, I think Clarke, you're in the stadium a lot, you know, for the home games, most of the home games. I think we're going to feel a really up for it atmosphere for this home leg.
Not half. I'm gonna buy some toilet rolls. I'm gonna dish them out.
This is huge, though, isn't it? I mean, look, you know, the fact of the matter is, our European record for a club of our size is not where it should be.
Unfortunately.
You know, we have a chance here to get to the Champions League final. And which is a one-off game against, look, PSG and Bayern Munich, two amazing teams. Whoever we end up facing, it's going to be a tough game, but we want to be there.
It's a brilliant opportunity. It's a golden opportunity because we're better than Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid are decent. They've got some good individuals. Julian Alvarez is quality.
We love him.
Antoine Griezmann is class still at 35. They've got some good players and they've got a smart coach, but they are not as good as Arsenal. Every time we put them under pressure in this game, there were cracks. We found our way through. I think that we really should be going through from this point, and you just got to hope the players hold their nerve and channel that frustration about the first leg, channel it in the right way, so that it gives them a little extra 5%. And with that extra 5%, I genuinely think we can cut loose and score multiple goals, and that's what Arsenal need to do. Because Atletico have scored in every single Champions League match this season, okay? But they've only kept one clean sheet. We have to score in this game. But my sense is we'll have to score twice at least to go through, which means we have to really go for it, not hold back and not play for a 1-0, because Atletico are dangerous.
Yeah, they're dangerous, but also they have this reputation of the Atletico Madrid of I don't know, 5 years ago, where they were defensively solid, you know, almost like the George Graham Arsenal. But they're not that anymore, are they? They're quite open, and I think that if we play our cards right in that home league, you know, we can get those 2 goals that Clarke wants.
100%. There's no reason why we can't go and win. We just have to calm down, play the game, not the occasion. Just do what we've been doing. And one thing I liked is, obviously, we played a lot of football. Our players have been ran into the ground, quote unquote. I never saw that yesterday. I did against Newcastle. I know we'll touch on that, but that was also an impressive thing. I don't know if that's psychological factors. I don't know if we were just in a good moment in terms of our physical health. But yeah, there's no reason why we can't do this, man. Get 2 goals. Let's get out of there and let's talk about
Who would be your front line then, CJ?
Oh, man. Here we go. I was going to get onto the front line.
Because I don't think it would be the front line that started the game. Even though they did okay. Madueke, I thought, had a good first half. You know, he caused some
decision-making was decent
for Ruggieri. He won that duel with Ruggieri in the first half.
He was upset to come off.
Yeah, Martinelli wasn't great. Gyökeres, I thought, was good, and he was a bit of a handful. So, and obviously Odegaard's in behind. Who survives?
You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. We have to get past Fulham. It's a quick turnaround. Saka right on the right, Gyökeres through the middle. I think you have to keep Martinelli on the left. I don't want it. I really don't. I would love to get Eze and Odegaard together, but I understand, and I know you're in a tricky territory when you're talking about a winger going backwards, but I did understand the method to Arteta's madness, so I'd probably go Gyökeres. I'd gamble with Saka and Martinelli at least from the start. Not saying I'm happy with it, but needs must.
Why do you think amongst supporters, because, you know, I agree with what you're saying by the sounds of it there, CJ, on paper, but why do you think the trust has kind of come away from Leandro Trossard on that side?
Because he started the first half of the season well, and simply put, he's just not been cutting the mustard in the second half of the season. Like, he came off the bench, I actually think he was quite poor. Like, there was a moment, and I understand when you come off the bench, you know you need to get up into speed and things, yeah, but he's giving the ball away quite cheaply. At least with Martinelli, he keeps a fullback honest because of his pace. He will get back. I just think Trossard's not cutting the mustard, and I don't want to talk about the summer because it's not the summer yet, but left wing has to be a priority for us.
Big time. I just wanted to touch on Viktor Gyokeres. Another big goal. It's funny. Yeah, there it is. It's funny because you speak to people, Arsenal fans and fans of other clubs, and most people say, this guy's a flop. You know, he's not what we thought he was going to be. He's having a terrible season. But Viktor Gyokeres, I got a stat, scored his 19th goal of the season for Arsenal. Only Haaland and Igor Thiago, Haaland on 35, Igor Thiago on 24, have netted more for a Premier League club across all competitions in 25-26. So, I mean, for a first season in a new league, he's doing all right.
Yeah, you just have to accept Gyokeres for what he is, okay? Nice. Gyokeres isn't ever going to be a culture centre forward that looks like an Arsenal centre forward that satisfies the fan base with the quality of his technique. He's just not going to be that guy. But what he is he's a worker that knows how to finish, and he's got a knack for scoring goals, and he's a handful, and he gives you that outlet down the channels. Now, I understand why people don't want that kind of player as our first choice centre forward long term. I totally get it. But he is what he is, and I think we're better having him. And can you imagine if we hadn't signed him? Yeah. You know, what would have happened this season?
Yeah.
So
especially because Marino's out, you know, our backup number 9.
I thought he did well. I thought he did well. He was a handful. He made that great run down the left and cut it back for it. He's got to touch and shoot.
We was all waiting for him to pull the trigger.
I mean, if that falls to Eza, I think he probably even hits it first time, you know. So that was a real let off for them. But Gyokeres might not be the guy that is the spearhead of this team next year.
He can chip in,
but in the here and now, he's the guy, because there's no Havertz at the minute. We have to get behind him, and I think Atletico are good opponents for Gyokeres because they will leave space in behind.
Yeah, and if there's one thing I like about Gyokeres, I think Adrian's bang on. If there's one thing I can't criticise about Gyokeres, big moments, big games, especially away from home. Like, I know we didn't win the League Cup final, but he was one of the players I thought turned up. He's bagged against Chelsea away, he's bagged against Inter, and he's continued it against Atletico. He has the mentality. As Adrian said, we just got to accept him for what he is. And I know a striker's role, you need to do more than scoring, but on paper, he's delivered. Like, strikers are meant to score goals. He's doing that.
Yep. You can't really knock him for that. Clarke, you're someone who loves stats. That's your domain, really, and kind of you like tactics. So, what did you make of Mikel Arteta's kind of tactical tweak in the midfield, where Declan Rice seemed to be playing deeper in this game as a genuine 6, I guess, and Zubimendi was kind of also there, but given a little bit more freedom?
Yeah, I really liked it. It worked, didn't it? I thought Rice was absolutely superb. I think he would get my man of the match, certainly from an Arsenal point of view. What struck me was that he wanted to take responsibility. He wanted to be the guy. Everything comes through me. Now, whether that was the plan from Arteta because Zubimendi's not feeling physically great at the moment. I know he's been ill, hasn't he? So I think what it was there was let's release a little bit of responsibility from Zubi and give it to Declan, because Declan is a big guy for the big occasion. And I thought he did brilliantly. Without the ball, he broke up play well. But on it, I think he made did he complete 88 passes? I mean, I think it's one of the highest ever by an Arsenal player in the Champions League game. He was phenomenal. At half time, you're like this, he'd made 55 passes, and the next closest Arsenal player had made 33.
How does he remember that?
Yeah. Well,
we love him, man.
Yeah, but it was 20 more than the next closest. That's not normal for Declan Rice, but it was like he revelled in that role. And now I'm thinking, do we stick with it?
Do you think it was because he was like, I know he's been playing in the 8 for a minute, Adrian, but do you think it's because he's reverted back to the 6 and he might be comfortable receiving the ball?
Like West Ham Rice.
Rather than further up the field.
No, I think that's what it was. It was like, we want him to be our orchestrator, not Zubi. Yeah. Because Zubi's maybe not 100% at the moment. We'll make him more of a, not a peripheral figure, but just less vital. But Rice is, he stood up, and now it's like, is that what we want to see against Fulham? Is it? Because what you could do is obviously play him and have 2 attack him. You could maybe rest Zubi.
Yeah, but then you could
bring an Eze and Ødegaard in. That would be bold.
I wouldn't mind it.
But we wouldn't mind it, would we? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. I'll be up for it.
Is Declan Rice, CJ, has he cemented himself as... when I say important, most important, like all the players are important, but like if Declan Rice is not in the team, that's a big problem for us. Do you know what I mean? Is he our most influential player?
Based on what you said there, he is probably our most important player. Clearly, whether he's going to play in the 6 like he did or he's been playing in the 8 in previous games and whatnot, you don't have Declan Rice. 1, what's the other options? 2, we're not safe. I know we kind of focus on Rice passing the ball forward, but as Clarke just said there, he puts out fires. Like, again, Atletico are so good on the transition. How many times did Rice just stop fires? They might not grab the headlines. They might not even be in the highlights, but that is why Rice is vital. We're not the same team without Declan in it.
Yeah.
He is the most important outfield player. I mean, David Raya is big.
Yeah.
But no Rice, we're in trouble.
Yeah, like no Rice, no title. Yeah, that's the situation.
It's funny that, isn't it? Because some people are, calling for David Raya to be the Arsenal player of the season, but like you said, no Rice, no title. So
I'm torn on that. I mean, I almost still think it's up for grabs.
Yeah,
because there's so many big games to come. I think that Rice is a definite contender with Raya and either of the 2 centre backs. So you can make a case for Saliba or Gabriel. I think Gabriel is ending the season in not as good a form.
Yeah, he's kind of dropped off a bit.
I think Saliba's overtaken him a little bit in recent weeks. But look, they're both absolutely integral, and we need them fit.
It's an embarrassment of riches, I guess. When you've got such great players that we do. Where do we stand then? A question for both of you, and CJ, I'll come to you first on this. A lot of people talk about Bruno versus Declan Rice for the Player of the Year debate. What's your thoughts on that?
Win the Premier League. There's no debate with Bruno Fernandes. Declan Rice has to win it. And you know what? I like Bruno. I know he's frustrating, but I like his mentality. I like his ability to get goals and get assists and get statistics and things. But maybe I'm naive. It feels like this just started 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of Man United fans that couldn't even stand Bruno. Now he's PFA and what.
Well, he's meant to be going to Saudi last summer, wasn't he? And
exactly.
All of that,
it's easy when you're playing once a month and whatnot. No disrespect to Bruno, but win the Premier League, it has to be Declan Rice or one of the Arsenal lads. It's a non-story. You could argue Igor Thiago, what he's done at Brentford is more impressive relative to Brentford than what you're seeing from Bruno. But I do like Bruno, but come on.
Comments are going to be interesting.
Let them come for me. Come on then, bring it.
He's having a phenomenal 2026.
He is.
I think 12 assists in 14 games this calendar year. It is nuts. He probably is going to break the assist record. But as you rightly, the key phrase that you used there was, I don't know how you said it, but basically, Man United they play half as many matches as Arsenal. Exactly. It is easier for him, no doubt about it. I actually think he will win it because Arsenal, because there's not one obvious candidate at Arsenal or City, I think there's going to be a split vote among the Arsenal players, maybe a split vote among City contenders, and it could leave the path clear for Bruno to win it. I think it would be wrong, but I suppose when you've carried Manchester United the way he has, that would be it'd be a worthy winner.
Set pieces, because we used to get slated for it. So
they all count.
Yeah, they do. But like you can't slate us and then include it now. So take it to VAR.
I'm seeing Cherky's name being thrown around in the last few weeks as well.
Not quite. He's having a great season, but not quite. I'd more give it to Bruno than Cherky, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and Semenyo, what he did for Bournemouth, and then what he's done for City.
Another one
in the final part of the season. I think he's got a good shout, but. Yeah, look, if Arsenal win the league, I think it really should be one of the guys we mentioned.
Yeah. All right.
Facts.
Well, let's turn our attention back to our Premier League campaign then. And CJ, we need to reflect, I guess, on 3 points against Newcastle. Not the easiest 3 points, but all that matters is we got them.
What did you say there? All that matters is just we got them. We're in the business end of the season. I know we've nitpicked our attacking performances and actually defensively, and we've talked about injuries. It's just about putting points on the board. I know it could go down to goal difference. I'm of the mentality, let's just win all our games, pray City drop points. We did that. I did think both teams, I did see a more impressive Arsenal than I thought on paper going into the game. And I also thought Newcastle, considering their form, I thought they were going to be a lot easier to play. I know every game's difficult in the Prem, but there was that. There was obviously some nervy moments. We looked a bit out of gas. Again, a bit like the Atletico game. We've got in behind, and the final third, it just isn't quite on par to put daylight between the two sides. But clean sheet, 3 points, we scored. On to the next one, man.
Yeah, I mean, Clarke, how do you feel about the kind of goal difference debate? Do you think it's too early to? I know there's only a few games left, but do you think it's too
early?
Do you think that we should be thinking about that for maybe the final 2 games, and now it's just like winning?
I'm looking at Burnley on that penultimate game, and I'm thinking
a smashing.
Like, let's obliterate Burnley. That could be fun. Let's hope so. Anyway, obviously they've changed their manager, haven't they, with Scott Parker? So we'll see how that pans out. I think we let Newcastle off the hook here. Like, Newcastle haven't been defending well, and we definitely went with a handbrake on. We went cautious again. I thought it was a pretty poor performance from a sacking point of view, but a brilliant goal.
Yeah,
I mean.
Shout out.
Come on, let's talk about it.
Back to scoring from set pieces as well.
Let's talk about it then, Clarke. You know, third time's a charm, I guess, because it was 3 short corners, wasn't it? The first 2 were, let's face it, not great, and everyone was calling for kind of one, hung in underneath the crossbar, and then we did it again.
But it was like we sort of set Newcastle up for the trick. It was a 3-card trick, right? The first one was terrible. Second one was okay, but what we changed differently, and I'll credit Madueke here and Zubimendi. So Zubimendi, instead of running in the same line that he did the first 2, he ran along the touch line, which effectively opened up a bigger space. So it opened up a bit of a corridor. And then I'll credit Noni Madueke for seeing it and saying, actually, Martin Odegaard, I'm not going to give it to you and go straight into Havertz. And that was the genius of it. And obviously the finish. I mean that was
ridiculous.
That was so sweet. He made it look like it's the easiest thing in the world, just to curl it in the top bin like that.
And it's anything but. Like, shout out Eze, man. Like, that's one thing. You said it in touching comments as we was talking about something else. One thing I like about Eze is it sounds silly, but he shoots. He wants to shoot. And like what you said earlier, that Odegaard incident against Atletico Madrid, Eze puts that in the back of the net. So long may it continue from Eze, and let's just get the goals however we can.
And the thing is, Eze's got that. We know he's got that in his locker, shooting from outside the box. And didn't he score one against us when he was playing for Palace? It came off the post. He loves a shot from outside the box, just on the edge of the box, and he's got finesse.
He's got the quality as well. That's the main thing. It's one thing seeing it, it's another thing doing it, because that same corner, or the short piece corners we've been doing it for a while. I know no one wants to talk about it, but we did it against Southampton, Martinelli, and obviously Martinelli hasn't quite got the quality of Eze, so let's just keep it up however we can get the goals, man.
Yeah, if there's 2 players I want to have shots from outside the box, I'm never ever going to have a go at them. It's Eze and Rice.
Yeah.
Right? Because those guys hit the ball so sweetly. They just got the techers. On Eze, by the way, he is about goals, really, this season. He's not been that creative. I don't know if you said I love a stat. I was looking at it the other day. There's 7 or 8 players that have created more chances than Eze this season.
Wow.
For Arsenal, 7 or 8. Like some of the fullbacks have created more chances than he has in open play. So that's something he's got to do a bit more of. He's got to be better at it. I think we've got to give him the ball more to create more. But for me, he's in the team to score. That's why he's in the team. Odegaard's in the team to give us that control, to keep us ticking over. They're very, very different types of players, which is why I think we really want to see them both if we can.
Do you think that's down to the fact that, at Crystal Palace, everything went through Eze, didn't it? He was kind of their man in the engine room, kind of their creative player. He scored a lot of goals, but also created a lot of goals for Palace. At Arsenal, the system is different, and Mikel Arteta, plays completely differently, I guess. So he's not getting as much service to provide an assist.
We don't rely on him as much, do we? Plus, we always seem to go down the right, whether it's Saka there or Madueke. Yeah. I mean, every single game, everything goes around the right, and not a lot goes down the left. But that kind of works for Eze when he plays left, because he's obviously not going to stand on the opposite side of the pitch. He's going to come into the middle. Yeah. So then if we can fizz the ball across to him, like we actually did for that short corner, that's where we get his joy. So I think he can play on the left. But my issue with the Atletico game, and I think we briefly touched on it earlier, is without the ball, is he going to track back like Llorente and the fullback? Not as much as
you saw it against City, and that was the one time I actually liked it from Arteta, that he gambled and he knew Eze probably will switch off defensively, but he might give us something in the opposition's half. That's probably why Eze probably isn't long term going to play off that left hand side. It's been a long road for Eze. Like, we've had to meet him halfway. He's had to meet us halfway, understanding the system, knowing where he needs to press, knowing where he needs to stand. Clarke said it as well. It's like you wish you could play like sometimes have either Rice or Zubimendi and then Odegaard and Eze. And these are the good problems you want Mikel Arteta to have to figure out, but we've got to figure it out.
One day, it wouldn't surprise me if we've lost all our strikers, which would probably happen between now and the end of the
God
season.
forbid, but yeah, some brand.
I could see those two playing as like false nines, like up top.
I'm sure Eze's done that for Palace, so yeah, you know.
Or Eze and Marino, like sort of as double, you know, if they were fit, as if you didn't have a fit striker. I want him high. I don't want Eze coming back too deep.
You want him around the opposition's area.
Yeah. Is there any mileage, Clarke, in this narrative that some people put out there that Mikel Arteta coaches the directness and the flair out of a lot of players because he wants control?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Good question.
I think you'd have to ask the players because they're the ones. They're the ones who are working with him day in, day out. And all I would say in answer to that is, look who signed new contracts. Like they all have. They all want to stay. They all have bought into it. And if I'm a fair player, if I'm a guy that wants to do bits on the ball, and I don't like working with a manager that restricts me, then I wouldn't sign that new deal. Yeah. So I think that's positive. I think he probably micromanages things a bit more than I would like as a player. I quite like the freedom. I preferred working with managers that just say, go on, Clarke, go and do your thing. Whereas Arteta's on you, isn't he? But
don't sit down.
But the players, look, we're in the semi-final of the Champions League. We're top of the Premier League. The players are doing all right with him, so
he's got to be doing all right.
I don't think we need to be critical of Arteta at this point. But moving forwards, I think we'll see changes next season. But there's loads of time to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do that over the summer on the show. Right, CJ then, Fulham on the weekend. I mean, every game just feels so scary. I mean, like, you know...
I thought you were going to say tortuous.
Yeah, that as well. But it's... Like, I'm loving it because we're top of the table, but it just means so much. And it's like every game, you know, no disrespect to Fulham at all, I don't mean it like that. But if we were playing Fulham earlier on in the season when we were defending, you know, imperiously... Imperiously. Thank you,
what you meant.
Cheers. Right. Thank you. You know, if it was back then, I'd be going into this game like feet up, lovely jubbly, but now I'm like, oh my God, Fulham, they've got some dangerous players.
Yeah.
You know, I'm worried.
I'm worried as well, but it's like, we're human. You've got to be worried. It's what you do with that fear. If you let it consume you, you're in problems. At the end of the day, I don't quite subscribe to this from Mikel Arteta, but he said it's the most beautiful part of the season. You know what's at hand now. You know, you've got a Champions League at home. You've got 2 games at home. Let's build some momentum. You know, as a minimum, you just need to get points on the board in the Premier League. So the task is very simple. No matter what we think about Fulham or Arsenal, just go and get the job done. I need us to be a bit more clinical in the final third. I need us to get back to those high levels defensively. I know Fulham are, you know, they're still playing for stuff and they're in a bit of a bad patch of form, but they're going to put their best foot forward. They're going to be a bit fearless, but it's simple. Just go win the game, man. And it's down to the players, for the fans around the world and the fans that are at the stadium. If there is nerves, they've got to inject that confidence into the fans, no? Let's go out there and do it, man.
Yeah. I mean, Clarke, you kind of put it on CJ a little bit earlier on about the front three.
Yeah. Okay, what you got?
Well, you didn't give your opinion on the front three because, you know, devastating injury for Kai Havertz. You know, we don't know what's going on there really. But for this Fulham game,
I doubt we're playing this game.
Who's your front three?
Oh, it's a good shout. I'll tell you who I would pick as well is Calafiori.
Yeah.
I think this is a game for him.
I think they saved him because he was on the bench, wasn't he?
I think Calafiori is the guy against real top opposition that you can trust.
Warrior.
A warrior. Exactly that. Calafiori is the chaos guy. We know that, and we need a bit of that against Fulham. So I'm locking him in a left back. My front four, I guess, if you're going for an attacking midfield, I think Gyokeres plays again.
Yeah.
I would certainly play Saka. I would probably go Saka, Odegaard and Eze in behind Gyokeres. I probably would do that. And I'm guessing it'll be Rice and Zubimendi again.
Who else is there?
There isn't really. I mean, it feels fanciful to say, oh, he's going to play Miles Lewis-Skelly there. You know, just because he got 5 minutes the other day.
I was going to say, I hope Christian Norgard's not watching. If you are, hello.
So no, I don't think there's not really a time for major rotation, is it? We just got to get out there and win. But it is rotation in a way because Saka didn't start, Eze didn't start, Ødegaard came off quite early, Gyokeres came off. You know, none of them had a full game, so hopefully they're ready to go again.
What did you do at right back though? Because you got Benjamin, he's been, we're kind of tired now.
I think I'm saying to Jurriën Timber, come on, can you give us
Where is he? I miss him.
Do we think Mikel Merino would have played as a number 9 if he never got injured this season?
1,000,000%. He'd be the starting striker. Like, I don't want to make this about Gyokeres, but in terms of the system, it probably would have been Mikel Merino or Kai Havertz if he stayed fit. So, yeah, he probably would have started against Atletico, in my opinion.
Mikel Merino would have scored 2 or 3 big goals.
We miss him. He's missed the clutch
since he's been out. He would have done it because that's what he does.
Yeah. Got a lot of time for him.
Yeah, we've missed him badly, but we just got to deal with the cards that are in front of us. And Fulham don't have a good record away to the best teams in the division. You know, they've been beaten by City, at Liverpool,
making me confident,
at Man United. You know, they also don't score loads of goals, but they are solid at the back at the moment. 2 clean sheets in a row. I think they've let in 6 in their last 8. So they're actually hard to break down, and they've been quite trappy opponents for Arsenal. We've messed up against them before, haven't we? Yeah. So if we can navigate this and win quite well, my optimism levels for the title will skyrocket.
For this, hinging on this game.
Yeah, because I think if we put them to bed, because I see this as a really awkward game because of where it falls. Mm-hmm. If we can put them to bed, I will be really, really optimistic that we can get the job done.
I like the sound of that. And based on that then, CJ, these next 2 home games then, Fulham and Atletico Madrid, does the atmosphere at the Emirates need to be, one of the best we've heard? You know, this is a real rallying cry for the fans, right?
I know people don't want to hear it, but Mikel Arteta is right. You got to bring your breakfast, bring your lunch, bring your shin pads, bring everything, get the tifos.
As long as the team perform this
time. As long as the team have to generate it. If the players just go out there and do their job and inject confidence, it's great stuff. You know, we didn't do it against Bournemouth, but since then at the Emirates, we've been doing well. It's as much as it's about tactics and rotating, I do think you're now at that part of the season where it's just about the psychological factors. Are we going to get nervous? God forbid, but first 10 minutes, if we concede against Fulham, we're a goal down, you can already picture the scene. So the players just have to go out there and do the job. We're at the part of the season where it's quite simple. Like, just play, win the game, go home.
I felt we played with quite a calm assurance for most of the Atletico game, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, barring that patch where they were absolutely honest. You know, they didn't let us breathe,
especially
did they?
In the first
but I felt like we looked like a proper team. We looked like a team that belongs there, and that's what we've got to take into all of these games. Because let's be honest, every single game that Arsenal have between now and the end of the season, we are favourites for. Maybe barring a possible Champions League final. Right?
Yeah.
But so let's play like favourites. Let's own it and go out there and play with a bit of swagger. All those players, as little kids, they dreamed of being part of a team that might win a title, that might win the Champions League. That was their fantasy. This is it now. This is their chance. Right. So don't hold back, guys. Yeah. Unleash it. Bring your best, and let's see what's what. I don't think Mikel Arteta needs to drum up the fans ahead of the second leg, ahead of Fulham or Atletico. It's a given that the crowd are going to be with the team.
We know what's on the line.
Yeah, and I almost want him to take a little step back and just let the players go out there and deliver. Because sometimes I think you can have too much about what it means and what it means. Every player knows what it means. Like, they've just got to go out there and bring their best and bring that performance that they dreamed about when they were 9, 10, 11 years of age. This is their moment.
Or even at the start of the season, if you offered them where we are now with no context in the semi-finals of the Champions League and fighting for the Prem, they'd have bit your arm off. So go out there, realise the dream, get the job done. I think Clarke's right, man.
And if they don't know what it means, they need to get a new job. Right, I feel like every time I do the show, we're kind of like ticking off the fixtures one by one, you know, that old cliche. But kind of let's look at this now. 4 to play for Arsenal. Fulham at home, West Ham away, Burnley at home, Crystal Palace away. Maximum points, do you think, from those games, or do you think we're going to have a hiccup along the way?
I think both us and City are going to have a hiccup, man.
Well, we'll come to City in a minute, but just on us then, where do you think the hiccup is for us?
West Ham away is the one that scares me the most. Maybe because shades of the past. I'd go
And they're
with
fighting
them.
for their lives.
And they're fighting for their lives as well. Like, we've got first world problems. We're crying about winning titles. They're literally fighting for survival.
Yeah.
So West Ham away is the one for me. I'm like, oh, I'm not quite sure. But every game feels like that.
Okay, Clarkey, the Arsenal.
We're winning the last two for
Okay.
sure. These next two, it's if we win these next two, I think we can dare to dream. But Fulham is difficult because of the turnaround. It's a really short turnaround. And West Ham away, like you say, they are fighting for their lives. But we have such a good record there. Not perfect.
Long may it continue.
But we've had some great days
Nice
there.
screamers
We
as well.
basically emptied the stadium.
I remember. I think we were working together that day. It was brilliant.
I need that Arsenal back then. Please.
Yeah, let's empty London Stadium. But those are the two games. If we win those,
All right.
be good.
Okay. Well, City then 5 to play for them, of course. Everton away, Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, Crystal Palace at home, Aston Villa at home. CJ, what do you reckon?
Bournemouth to beat them. That's the only one I've
the
really
big
got
one,
hope
innit?
for. Yeah, like I will be watching Everton. I hope Moyes can do his former player a favour. Brentford is a game where I think you have to bring your A game, but I think you mentioned it there at home, so that's cool. It's the Bournemouth one, man. Bournemouth's a horrible place to go to. They've got a great manager and a great system, so Bournemouth's the one, man, for me.
Clarkey?
Yeah, Bournemouth or Everton. It feels a long shot for Everton.
Yeah.
Because they've just dipped at the wrong time. But look, if Beto is fit enough to start, he's been in good form. Dewsbury Hall's good. Like, I don't know.
Dying that.
Yeah, I think they're a decent team on their own patch. I'm living in hope that Everton can take.
You're not
something.
alone.
Yeah, but they'll win their home games. They've got no doubt about
Yeah.
that. It's Everton and Bournemouth. That's where we've got to be praying for those two teams
Please,
to deliver.
footballing gods, man. Please, we need this.
Nobody's saying Villa, which is, and I understand why, because contextually, the context of Villa's season, obviously they're going for the Europa League. They're in the semi-final against Nottingham Forest, which, sorry, Forest fans, I expect Villa to win. So, their game against City falls around. Is it after the Europa League fight?
So they play the Europa League on the Wednesday,
Yeah.
and then they'll play there on the Sunday.
So, I mean,
So
they'll be
they'll have either
partying.
celebrated or been disappointed. I don't see either English side losing the final to Freiburg or Sporting Braga. So, yeah, they'll either be out on the town for 3 days, or they'll have already qualified for the Champions League, and it'll be the deadest of dead rubbers for them.
Yeah.
That's why I give them next to no chance.
Facts.
I think we've been there before with Villa on the last day at the Etihad, where they've given us hope, they've scored goals, and then they've collapsed. So no, I'm not relying on that. I think the damage needs to be done to City before then.
Okay, so with 4 games remaining for us and 5 games remaining for City, in terms of percentage of confidence of winning the league, where are we at right now, CJ? What's
60% confident we win.
okay?
the league.
60.
What's the supercomputer say?
Yeah.
The supercomputer probably still says us.
Big up the
Well, I am the
supercomputer, man.
supercomputer,
Yeah.
so there you go. No, I'm similar. Like, I think 50, maybe 55. Like, I'm a little bit pessimistic because it's City. Because it's City. That's the only reason, and they've been playing ever so well. But I think we've got more chance of winning it than not.
Yeah.
And that's a good place to be.
Facts.
Have we had any clarity on Rodri at all? Because he didn't play, did he? So I mean, that's a factor as well to think about.
Always assume that they'll always play. Yeah, don't
Assume the worst,
don't ever get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Haaland, he's going to stay fit for the rest of the season. So's Rodri. Just accept it.
Yeah.
Right.
Accept our
Let's
fate.
just control what we can control, man. And leave the rest with God, man.
That's right. Mikel Arteta's probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, true.
Fulham game, we'll see Timber back. We'll see Havertz back. Marino will be back.
Please, especially Marino. We need him,
That
man.
would be amazing. He just chucks away his crutches. Out he comes.
Ready.
WWE style. I'm so here for that. Now it's time for our bet builder with BetMGM. Remember, you can download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. Right, CJ, you have the honour of going first.
Positive vibes only, Nick and Adrian, man. I'm going to go with Arsenal winning at half-time against Fulham.
Okay.
Good start. Yeah, we're fast start.
Got you, man. Got you, man.
First halves have been pretty good
Let's
lately
go.
as well. So yeah.
Positive vibes,
Yeah,
man.
but this time we don't sit on the lead, right?
Yeah, no, we smell blood and we go for it. We go for it until the game's done, man.
All right, Clarkey, what are you saying?
Well, I was interested to see the refereeing appointment, Jared Gillett. We've had him a lot this CJ. Yeah, there's a few that aren't my favourites. He's probably among them. And Yeah, he's refed us a lot this season. He's VAR'd a fair bit. I can see a few cards. I can see it being quite feisty. Over 3.5 cards.
Okay.
In the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Arsenal to win, but both teams to score, because we've lost that kind of defensive solidity that we had early on in the season, and we're a little bit more open at the back. So, I think Fulham will get something, but I think that, hopefully, fingers crossed.
So we're going to score more than one.
Yeah, we will.
We need to.
I mean, I'm hoping, the order of the goals isn't Fulham's first, because I don't know if my heart can take it. But yeah, I think Arsenal are going to win, and it's going to be both teams to score. So just to reiterate that for you then, Arsenal to win, both teams to score, over 3.5 total cards, and Arsenal winning at half time. Right, just before we wrap things up, guys, how much do you think the second leg of the Champions League semi-final is going to weigh heavy on the team selection for the Fulham game? No?
It can't.
Yeah. This is just as big a game, isn't it? They're both as important as each other. You've got to play. You might not be able to play the same 11 for both, but you're not going to rest what you would regard as a nailed-on start for Fulham. No chance.
Facts. The season's on the line. We haven't got time for that. Of course, Arteta could be cute and clever. This one could get 60 minutes here. This one might have 20 minutes there. Kind of what we was talking about with Calafiori, but there's no time for rest. Our season's on the line. You need to beat Fulham. You need to go to the Champions League final.
Yeah, both games you got to be attacking.
Exactly.
I would say in the Fulham game, we can dare to be slightly bolder with our 11 than against Atletico. But in that I'm really talking about the fullback with Calafiori and Capier, but and maybe having an extra attacking midfielder.
Less emphasis on defensive structure and more like, can we just get some goals against Fulham?
Is there? I'll probably get laughed out the door here, but is there a world where we don't see Rice and Zubimendi against Fulham?
Mate, get out of the door.
Get out, man. And on that,
I only ask because
we need them.
Norgard's there, and those two, and specifically Zubimendi. He's looking a bit tired.
You do know Mikel Arteta.
I know.
You have watched this season.
He wants those two in every single game. Unfortunately, they can't play every single game, but they will play in both of these unless the injury rules them out.
Okay. All right. Well, that is all we've got time for on today's Inside Gooners. Thank you for your company, of course, and thank you to my guest, Adrian Clarke, and to CJ, a.k.a. Deluded Gooner. This show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org, and please gamble responsibly. And come on, you Gunners!
Woo! Go, man.